And now, here she is, celebrating the words that maybe soon marriage will not be a thing that has to be given to the gays anymore. Alrighty, I hate to tell you this. I really do hate to tell you all this, but conservatives have decided that they want to actually come for the gays. Not in the way that word seemed like it meant. No. See, when people come for the gays that way, that's kind of hot. And most conservatives, whether they're at CPAC on their, Grindr accounts, or whether there's some guy in the middle of bumfuck nowhere watching lesbian porn, most of them, in some way, shape, or form, have come for the gays. But this is not that usual case. This is something completely different and just completely out there. And I wish I didn't have to report this bit of reality to you. But first, let's get into the fan art section, because at least here there is some solace that we can look at. This is Delicious Compliance with a Cult of the Lamb Suris. And you know what? Honestly, that is adorable, and I appreciate it completely. That is fantastic. Thank you very, very much, Delicious Compliance. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord. That said, today we do have to cover this madness. So, an evangelical legal group, asks the Supreme Court to overturn same-sex marriage. RNS says, we don't think it's a matter of if, but just a matter of when the Supreme Court will overrule Obergefell, says Matthew Staver, head of Liberty Counsel. The Rowan County Clerk, Kim Davis, oh, look at that! Do you remember who that is? If you don't remember, if you have not been part of, atheist YouTube for a bit, then you'll remember when Obama managed to get gay marriage legalized with his gun and American bald eagle freedom. Nah, just kidding, it was the Supreme Court ruling under him. When that happened, there was a lot of conversation about if people should be forced to officiate gay weddings, if they do not religiously agree with it. And the answer to that is, you still have to make a sandwich for somebody even if you don't believe that being Muslim is a real thing. You still have to make them a sandwich on the subline, regardless of what your personal morals say. If you have a job that says you give out marriage licenses, then you give out marriage licenses. That's how it works. So, here we have somebody whose job it was to give out marriage licenses, and she ended up fighting tooth and nail to try to not do so. And now, here she is, celebrating the words that maybe soon marriage will not be a thing that has to be given to the gays anymore. So, any of y'all weird freedom of speech warriors from the old atheist YouTube days, you gonna speak up about this, or you just gonna stay fucking quiet? Weird. Rowan County Clerk Kim Davis listens as her attorney, Roger Gangnam, addresses the media on the steps of the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Kentucky in Covington on July 20th, 2015. Davis, who said she could not issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples because it would violate her religious beliefs, was sued by the American Civil Liberties Union on behalf of 2 gay couples and 2 straight couples. All right. So I want to go ahead and put the article over here for us to listen to, because I want to play video games while I'm listening to things that make me incredibly angry. So let's see how well that goes.
Evangelical legal group asks Supreme Court to overturn same-sex marriage ruling.
Is it? Wait.
RNS, a conservative...
Never mind, that is an AI voice and I no longer care. Text-to-speech does not feel good to listen to. I don't get to play the game with the funny talking monkeys. I get to listen to the dumb talking monkeys. That's what I get to do. Anyway. A conservative Christian legal group asked the United States Supreme Court to review a decade-old case involving former Kentucky County desk clerk who cited her faith when she refused to issue marriage licenses. I'm sorry, I have to just stop right now. Why would you not have somebody on staff to dub this? Why is it a text-to-speech voice? Why would you not have somebody on staff to dub this? It can't be that hard to pay somebody to dub this shit. I'm sorry, no. I can't sit here and not think about that. I am going to focus on that this whole time. Why was that a text-to-speech voice? Why do we live in an age where that's what I have to listen to? No, wrong. Ew, bad. Anyway, Liberty Counsel, a legal nonprofit that also describes itself as a Christian ministry, has long been involved in the case of Kim Davis, the Kentucky clerk who in 2015 gained international attention after she wouldn't issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples despite the overt Obergefell versus Hodge Supreme Court decision, which legalized same-sex marriage nationwide that same year. Davis's refusal, which she said was rooted in her evangelical Christian faith, led to a series of legal battles that she lost, resulting in a brief prison sentence, as well as being ordered to pay $100,000 in damages, as well as additional legal fees. You know, the easiest thing in the world, right, would have been for her to go, you know, I don't know if I can do that, but I know somebody who can. That would have been way better. Orla says, since Roe v. Wade was struck down, I figured that they would try to remove gay marriage, the sodomy ruling that made it legal for gay people to have sex in interracial marriage in one sweep eventually. They want to get rid of all queer people, not just trans people. Yep. And remember, there are gay people who do the whole stupid, but we're some of the good ones. They're not going to come for us. No, not at all. We're going to speak about the craziness of the online left at the next Republican convention because we like money. I mean, we have good morals. The nonprofit filed a petition to the court on Thursday, July 24th, requesting an appeal to Davis's case and asking the court to overturn Obergefell. If ever a case deserved review, the first individual who was thrown in jail post Obergefell for seeking accommodation for her religious beliefs should be it, reads the petition. Legal analysts have cast doubt on the likelihood of the court reviewing Davis's case, noting that justices have already declined to take up an earlier version of her case in 2020. But in an interview with Religion News Services last month, Liberty Counsel founder Matthew Staver said multiple justices have voiced frustration with the Obergefell decision over the years. When the court passed over Davis's case in 2020, Justice Clarence Thomas wrote a statement joined by Justice Samuel Alito that blasted the same-sex marriage ruling, saying, "Davis may have been one of the first victims of the court's cavalier treatment of religion in its Obergefell decision. We think that it's not a matter of if, but just a matter of when the Supreme Court will overrule Obergefell," said Staver. Jesus Christ. You know that gay marriage doesn't actually affect you, right? Like, you can just officiate the gay marriage and then it's done. Two people loving each other is not, it never needs to be your problem. The court has grown more conservative since the 2020 ruling, with Justice Amy Coney Barrett, who has voiced criticism of Obergefell in the past. Of course she did. I wonder what's going to happen when we start talking about whether or not women should be allowed to vote. Anyway, filling the slot on the bench left open after the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and Thomas explicitly called for Obergefell to be recognized in his concurring opinion for Dobbs versus Jackson's Women's Health Organization, the 2022 ruling that overturned Roe v. Wade, the landmark 1973 decision that legalized abortion nationwide. Staver argued that Dobbs's decision left Obergefell in a weak position, and he noted that a case only needs support from 4 justices to be reviewed. With all of these things, the overruling of Roe and the composition of the court the way it is now, I have a good feeling about the possibility that the court would take this case. Not for nothing, just by the by, you guys do realize that Supreme Court positions are positions for life? Just wanted to throw that out there. This isn't something that we actually get to deal with the reins of democracy. I don't know why we don't get to deal with this with the reins of democracy, but I guess getting our rulings from on high is the best way we possibly could live a happy life. I guess. Staver also suggested justices may be more willing to take up the case given the passage of the 2022 Respect for Marriage Act, which, among other things, requires states to recognize same-sex marriage if they be performed in places where it is in fact legal. The result, Staver argued, would reduce the nationwide impact if the court once again made the same-sex marriage a state-level decision. It has taken one of the policy reasons for not overruling Obergefell off the table. Even so, LGBTQ rights activists have long insisted that even with the Respect for Marriage Act, rights would be lost if Obergefell was overturned, and the supporters included a broad swath of religious Americans. A 2024 Public Religion Research Institute report found that majorities of white mainline Protestants, white Catholics, Hispanic Catholics, Jews and Buddhists all support keeping same-sex marriage legal, and many denominations now perform same-sex marriages themselves. In the past, clergy have even filed suit to help legalize same-sex marriage at the state level. But Staver said that support for his cause is growing, or at least becoming more organized. He pointed to state resolutions passed by lawmakers in Idaho and elsewhere, asking the court to reconsider Obergefell, as well as a resolution passed by the Southern Baptist Convention last month that called for the overturning of laws and court rulings, including Obergefell versus Hodge, that defy God's design for marriage and family. Last I checked, God's design for marriage and family isn't something that I need to consider when making any of my decision-making. Reason being, and we're gonna continue this discussion while we play the funny monkey game. The reason that I don't think we need to worry about that, not worry about that, the reason we shouldn't consider God's decision in here at all is, quite frankly, this is a country not of the Bible, but of laws, or it's supposed to be a country of laws. This is a country that is supposed to be able to have people in it who can engage in their pursuit of happiness, and me needing to switch to Diddy Kong because I fucked up. People who are able to engage in their pursuit of happiness and generally be able to function in the world without being impeded by the federal government for basic ass shit. And one of the most basic ass things that humans can do is fall in love. That is one of the most basic things that any human at all does. They find a partner, they fall in love. Now, obviously, if you're aromantic, the chances of that happening go down significantly, but it doesn't mean it's impossible, and most people are not aro. So before somebody goes into the comment section saying, oh, look, no, me, that's not going to happen to me, I'm special. No, I don't care. I don't care. The majority of people who have the ability to just fall in love should be allowed to do so. And one of the ways that we express falling in love culturally, especially in the United States, is with a marriage ceremony. When two people recognize that they can live together for a long period of time and they can be happy in doing so, all that should matter, really, all that should matter is if those people are happy and stable when they do. I would argue, generally speaking, that people who can stay in a relationship for a long period of time can be happy and stable. I can't think of a reason to not allow same-sex marriage. Now, there was one person who argued against me on this years ago, stupidly, who said that, well, they understand not wanting to legalize same-sex marriage because the tax benefits of marriage are supposed to be a legal incentive for breeding, basically. And this person was... I do not want to get into the specifics on who this person was. That's not really important to any conversation whatsoever. But it's a real conversation I've had with a real person that was very bothersome back when I had it. And as a result, I've never forgotten that conversation. And I don't think I ever will. It's very hard for me to think of anything other than that conversation when I think of this. Religious organizations, by and large, have been doing everything in their power to strip away rights from people and say that it's a mandate from God. We don't really have any evidence that it's actually a mandate from God, and most they can do is point to a wishy-washy interpretation of their favorite holy book. And I'm sorry, but you are allowed to follow your holy book. I'm not going to stop you from following your holy book. But if I do not have your religion, then I ought not be pressured into following your holy book. That just doesn't make any sense to me. Why should I be pressured into doing so? And I get that it's like, it's part of the evangelical mindset of forcing anybody else to capitulate, forcing anybody else to bow to God's will. I understand that that aspect of Protestantism, of evangelicalism, even Catholicism, I understand that that's never gonna truly go away in society, but I feel like society would work better if it did. I really do. Techno TJ says incentive to breed because billionaires need more laborers. Yeah. There are some friends of mine that I wish I still had. If only so that I could get clarity on those weird conversations. Because some of those conversations just don't... They don't have a reason to be. And yet they are. And yet they are. Hey, buddy, get back here. Take my orange. There we go. 2 of them have taken my oranges to the face. Techno TJ says, genuinely can't think of any other reasons. Said presidential fitness testing in schools is coming back. I'm not surprised. Presidential fitness testing. I wonder why. Like, the name for that feels super strange to me. Always has. Also more of a reason to spite the president than anything. Like, honestly, fuck that guy. Oh, this one needs me to be Donkey Kong. I guess I'll be Donkey Kong then. You shall submit to my deity, and my deity is better than your deity. That's basically what it is. My dad's better than your dad, and you're going to submit to my dad. And if you don't submit to my dad, then you're going to go to a special place that my dad made to punish you from what my dad's going to do to you if my dad doesn't hear you say I'm sorry enough. And again, it may feel like I'm just sitting here poking fun at religion. That's not really my goal here. My point is, if we have to live in a world where our human rights are being taken away merely because somebody wants to pull the God card, then I may spend a little extra time being a little more of a dick towards that God. And I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing to do. Continue says, I hated that test in school. I was not physically active as a kid. No admittance. I'm just gonna... Coconut. My coconut gun fires in spurts. It has shooted ya. It's gonna hurt. Please don't tell me this is another weird minigame. I really don't want this to be another weird minigame. I don't have the Kong grab to make this minigame work, so we're just gonna... So many collectibles! I do not even know why I have half of these. I just do. There's a Donnie Bonespurs wants kids fitness test. Tested, apparently. Apparently. Anyway, point of all this is, we shouldn't have to live in a world where people's rights are dictated by other people's holy books. I don't see a reason to do that. I don't see the logic behind it. I don't see how that makes the world a better place. I only see that being something that makes this just a very unfun place to live. Remember, religious rules only really work when it's specifically your religion that is the one writing the rules. The minute somebody else's religion comes into play and starts writing the rules instead, then suddenly your head is on a chopping block. I don't feel like we should be writing the rules for society based on religious anything. I don't see a good argument for it. And I feel like all the... like, if you've got a good argument for it, then let me know in the comment section below. But I don't see that being something that is necessarily like needed for society at all. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. For me, this is agitating, and I don't want to say horrifying, because for it to be horrifying, I would need to have a little bit of unexpectedness. Instead, this is just frustrating. Just living in a world where this is happening is frustrating. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I really could not do any of this without all of you. Those of you watching, and especially those of you who support me on Patreon. I wanted to go ahead and take a minute to thank all of you who do that, because with YouTube being what it is these days, I really cannot do this full-time without the support from each and every one of you. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Britzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravalern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Tales of Atonement, Nixie-chan, Kiri Artemis, Limor Pinku, Love Bunny Games, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that. Aurora, Leela Ururaka, Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fireshard. Thank you so very much. But since you're here, why not go ahead and try watching another one? There should be one that's on the screen right now. And if you are a patron of mine, I wanted to go ahead and thank you again for all of your support. There is still a video you could press though, if you'd like. I would appreciate it just a little bit.